Well, that takes care of two very important elements, melody and rhythm. But jazz wouldn't be jazz if it didn't have its own peculiar tone colors, the actual sound values that you hear. These are many, but they derive mostly from the quality of the Negro singing voice. For instance, the saxophone is almost a perfect imitation in instrumental terms of this quality, a little hoarse, breathy, and with a vibrato or tremor in it. Now, just to be clear about what a vibrato is, let's hear that saxophone again without the vibrato. Then there are all the different growls and rasps and smears that we get from putting mutes into the different horns. Here is a trumpet with a cup mute. And here is a trumpet with a wah-wah mute. And here is a trombone with a plunger mute. Then there are the colors that derive from Afro-Cuban sources, like the bongo drums, and the maracas, and the Cuban cowbell. Then we have colors that have an oriental flavor, like the plucked bass and the vibraphone. These last two seem to have come to us from Indian and Arab sources via Africa. So all these jazz colorations are very important too. Now let's listen to that blues without them, sung in what singers refer to as a white voice, that is, without any jazz shading. Not the real thing, is it? Now, there is one other element which may surprise some of you who don't think jazz is an art, and that is the element of form. Did you know, for instance, that the blues was a classical form? Most people think of the blues as any song that's blue or torchy, low down, breast-beating, like Stormy Weather, for instance. Well, Stormy Weather is not a blues, and neither is Moanin' Low, nor The Man I Love, nor even The Birth of the Blues itself. They are all popular songs. The blues is actually a strict poetic form which has been transferred to music. It is based on a rhymed couplet, the first line of which is repeated. For instance, Billie Holiday sings, "My man don't love me, treats me awful mean. Oh, he's the lowest man I've ever seen." When she sings this as a blues, she repeats the first line. So it goes, "My man don't love me, treats me awful mean. I said my man don't love me, treats me awful mean. Oh, he's the lowest man I've ever seen." Now, did you notice that this blues couplet is, of all things, in iambic pentameter? My man don't love me, treats me awful mean. Oh, he's the lowest man I've ever seen. This is about as classical as you can get. This means, I suppose, that you can take any rhymed couplet from Marlowe or Shakespeare and just set it to the blues and make a perfect, let's say, Macbeth blues. I will not be afraid of death and bane till Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane. It makes a charming blues. I will not be afraid of death and bane. I said I will not be afraid of death and bane till Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane. Now, if you've been very attentive, you will have noticed that each of those three lines got 4 bars apiece, making in all a 12-bar stanza. But my voice sang only roughly half of each bar, that is 2 phrases. I will not be afraid of, 2 bars, I mean. afraid of death and vain, and the rest was filled up by the orchestra. This filling up is called a break. And here we have the origin of the instrument imitating the human voice. The soil in which jazz grows.